It's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, that's very disappointing. I spent hundreds of euros yesterday on a new computer through which this show is pouring. Well, pouring? I don't know. It's dried up already. I was going so well. Do you know what was going through my mind? I was thinking, this is so fast, so good. And as soon as that thought went through my mind, it started glitching and the theme tune played again. Anyway, enough of my woes. That is very disappointing, I've got to say, but I will deal with that like a man. Maybe by smashing it all up in a minute. Not that kind of man. Let's just see who's in this morning and let's see if maybe it's just settling in issues. So maybe I've just been sat here. Sound on. Okay, back in the room. No sound. Sound on. Well, what is it? Meditation. So I was listening to the theme tune going out and you were just seeing me sat here with the dazed and confused again. Oh my goodness. All right. And I've not got proper lip sync on the screen either. How strange. How strange. Well, I don't know if I don't think it's my new hardware. Very proud with my new hardware installation. Who doesn't like a hardware installation first thing in the morning? Who's in this morning? Deagle, good morning to you. Enjoying our conversation behind the scenes this morning. Coach Turner's in. James as well. We got T-Duck, of course. Have we got a duck rating this morning? What's the duck rating, I wonder? No, nothing in there at the moment. Portuguese saying of the day, of course. Dad jokes du jour today. And Portuguese saying deep thought of the day. I've got one or two of my own this morning. Owen's in as well. Jean, good morning to you. No, not Meditation Thursday. It's actually moved to Portugal Thursday, the penultimate Expats Portugal show, when Wiley is with us after 9 o'clock. Very keen, Coach Turner, you'll be pleased to know, to talk about the Iron Man event that is going to be happening in Cascais. Sometime soon. I don't know the exact dates, but I will by the end of today's show. So quite the event. She is excited about the excitement that comes to Cascais as a result, and also very possibly a participant. We'll find out, but a big fan. Oh, it's a one duck rating this morning. Thunder Duck member for 1 year on YouTube as well. Nice one, T-Duck. I think one of the early adopters. That's the phrase, isn't it, that we use? An early adopter of YouTube membership. Okay, I think, dare I say, I think the tech has settled down. I'm still not getting quite right on the lip sync on the screen that I'm looking at. I've got two screens up, one with WhatsApp on to receive all your incoming via WhatsApp. Managed to turn the notifications off. So 913-590-303 is the WhatsApp number. Things have been coming in, and I've managed to load up a few of my own things. Well, download, but not upload. Let me see if I can share a few things with you this morning then that I wasn't able to share with you yesterday, including some lovely food from Owen. Thanks for being here this morning, Owen. I'm going to share your lovely porco all'antejana on the screen now. Look at this. This is what he made the other day. And I think Lord Gilchrist, the great bon viveur and gourmet, said it's quite a lot of gravy in there. Sometimes I've seen it a little drier than that. And I must admit, the one I had a couple of nights ago myself was drier. I do like, however, the idea of some gravy in this. And so we can mop that up. We can mash the potatoes. You see, the version I had the other night had fries, batatas fritas with it as well, which were pretty good to go with a drier version. But with the potatoes in there and that gravy, I think that you can make your own mash at the end there, and maybe even get a nice bit of Portuguese bread to soak up all that gravy. Beautiful looking dish there. Thank you very much for sharing, Owen. And juices from Owen, daily juicing. That will be something to look forward to for next week as well. We're going to be featuring a daily juice from Owen as well, the food alchemist, next week. Now, this was a scene I wanted to show you, just about make out the sunshine. This is what, who was talking about this the other day? It was Daniel, wasn't it? Daniel Reyes of Reyes and Pelicano was saying that the Saharan sand is back. And there you have it, a view of the Atlantic, San Martino de Porto, and barely make out the pinpoint of sun through all the Saharan dust there. So I was keen to show you that yesterday. Couldn't, but I can today. And later on then, that same day, it's a funny story about well, can you see, what do you think that is on the bottom left-hand corner of that picture there, as you're taking a look? My kids are enjoying the moonlight after dinner, and I went for a run around on the beach. Aren't they lucky to be able to do that? I had a lovely saunter on the beach in the moonlight there, and twinkly Salero de Porto across the bay there. And on the left there, what do you think that is? I'll come back to that. But Republic Day yesterday, this is a picture that caught my eye yesterday for some reason. Patricia Madeira says on Twitter, this lady completes 112 years old today. So Republic Day, of course, yesterday. Took me by surprise. But what a fantastic illustration that is. And it looks like Lisbon with hashtag Lisbon with Pats are some of the tours that Patricia Madeira does in the capital. Stories of the city, hashtag history, hashtag heritage, and you can see it all there. I'm not sure if that's a site you'll see in Lisbon as you're making your way around the capital. And news came in yesterday, of course, that Spain and Portugal are going for a World Cup bid on 2030, and will be joined by Ukraine. Interestingly, well, that'll be a logistics thing and a half, won't it, to have matches across the Iberian Peninsula and in Ukraine. You can barely get further apart in Europe than that. So that'll be interesting logistically, certainly interesting politically, geopolitically. And a quick meme, quick bit of memery from James this morning. Thank you for this. And we'll see James on Monday, of course, with his thoughts about migration, his own and other people's. And this is very appropriate. I just told my suitcases that we aren't going on vacation this year. Now I'm dealing with emotional baggage. You can't see the baggage there, which is often the way, isn't it? But it shows itself, if not directly, then indirectly. Dealing with emotional baggage there in Ericeira this morning. So how are we doing? Is this all coming out okay at your end now? I think it is. So we've just got that first bit of the show where the theme tune seems to just go on to a loop. Let's see, shall we? We'll try again tomorrow. That's the wonderful thing about doing this show. We can always try again tomorrow. And you're so patient with the ongoing and live experiment that is a show. I think Digor's enjoying the photos there. Beautiful on the beach. Yeah, you must come and see us on the Silver Coast. And yes, saw that picture on TV a lot yesterday. Which one, I wonder? Was it I don't suppose it was Owen's recipe. Not that it shouldn't be on TV, but he's not got the exposure yet that he deserves in Portugal. I think you're probably talking about this one or this image here, where we've got the Iberian Peninsula and Ukraine mash up for the World Cup bid for 2030. And whilst we're still looking forward to the World Cup that's coming up later on this year, not long now, footy fans. Okay, let's go back to the start of the chat here and see what's going on, including a God Squad tip of the day from Coach Turner. Deagle was in early at 7:52. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpus, from a dry, cold Belfast last night. Went to 7 degrees overnight. Can't wait to get some Portuguese heat in my bones. It's a bit damp, I've got to say, this morning. I'm going to try something now. Hold on to everything. Fingers crossed, everything crossed. Hold on to your seat. Hold on to your hat, because we're going to try and share a screen, which was difficult yesterday. Why do I have to say it seems to be going well so far? Well, because it is, and we might have just got away with that. We do. So I could bring you a quick bit of weather from Portugal side as well then, Digger. What have you got to look forward to next week? I think as we look forward to your weather for your Portuguese visit next week, you got when do you arrive? Let us know when you arrive, because it's looking pretty nice. It's anything from 23 down to 20 for you next week in the Algarve. Currently 20 degrees with a clear sky, and will rise to 24 today. In the capital, we've got 18 at the moment with a few clouds, and it will rise to 26. A bit cloudy today, though, by the look of it. That's 64 currently in Fahrenheit and 79 to look forward to. Porto is 14 degrees currently with a clear sky, a little bit chillier then, but rising to 24 nonetheless, and a little bit of rain at the weekend. Sunday, Monday, rain is forecast in Porto and Coimbra. 32 will be the high today. A little bit cloudy, but 32, starting off at 16 currently. And I think I'm going to rejig this weather page, because to give you an overall look at the weather in Portugal, I don't think we go far enough north. So let's have a look at Braga as well then. 14 degrees at the moment, rising to 29. And 2 lovely days to look forward to. Friday, Saturday, that's catching my eye there in Braga, 29 and 30 degrees respectively. Let me know with the weather there how you'd like it. I think those 5 destinations are right. Some may disagree. What else would you like to see there? God Squad tip of the day then. And we have a good exercise for loosening your hips. Read that first as lips at quick glance. Lie on your back. Here we go again. Who doesn't like to? Lie on your back with your arms outstretched, crucifixed. Again, if somebody walks in, Coach Turner, are we going to make some do not disturb signs? I think we should. I think we should have some breakfast show do not disturb signs, or abandon hope, or something like that, or do not be surprised if you walk in to see me lying on my back with my arms outstretched, crucifix style. This is one for the martyrs, isn't it? This is the one for those. If only everyone knew. An exercise for you of that personality disposition. Pick one leg straight, pick one leg up straight and swing it towards the opposite arm and alternate. Oh my goodness, if you're naked and doing that and somebody walks in, that is going to be a pretty pass, is I think the British turn of phrase from the Victorian era. Things have come to a pretty pass. I walked in only to find so-and-so lying on their back, loosening their hips, they said. Disgusting. Thank you very Coach Turner. We need video, I think. Fully clothed, tracksuits on, please. No offense, but it might be. It might. Again, we don't want to be appealing to the wrong audience. But that sounds like fun. I think we need an illustration of it, if you don't mind. And I don't know, you might need an assistant filming that as well. That's not going to be easy, is it? Capturing that alone DIY style. But thank you very much for that. Good exercise for loosening the hips there. And don't we all need to loosen our hips occasionally in this life? Bom dia, Gumpers. Cheers, Ian. That's for you, that is. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz quinta a todos, como estão? From James. Talking in Portuguese as he is there. My new computer talks in Portuguese, is a Portuguese computer. And I'm fully into the world of the Portuguese keyboard as well now, which I think is good and right. I have dragged my feet on that. Who else here has a Portuguese computer and is learning Portuguese via their everyday interactions with their computer? So, for example, if I click on things, I have to say I'm having to guess a lot of the time, which is probably not the most sensible thing, which is probably why I get myself in trouble with IT. But, I'm having para partilha and ver o separador, which I've now discovered is a new tab, right? A separador is a tab. So, yeah, I think this is going to really help me. To just be talking to my computer in Portuguese. Anyone else doing that? Who's doing that? Cue this, I should say, with the past, I have nothing to do, nor with the future I live now. Hold on. Let's break that bit of Emerson down, shall we? Cue this then from James. With the past, I have nothing to do. Okay, so not trifling with all that's gone, nor with the future. Okay, got it. Living in the moment. Ralph Waldo Emerson style. I live now. Okay, there you go. Nice little reminder. A mindfulness moment there to live in the moment and to not truck with the past. Isn't that a great word? Not to truck with the past nor the future. And I think there's a lot you can do to influence your future by living in the now as well, of course, because those They will soon enough. Your moments, your now moments will soon enough become the phenomenon we know as the future, right? But we can only be here now. We can actually only be here now. Mind-bending, mind-boggling stuff here. Normally the conversations of the middle of the morning, of the early hours of the morning, but here we do it at 8:45 in the morning. Profundity abounds. Half the lies they tell about me aren't true, said Yogi Berra as well. Loving this guy. The more I hear from him and quoted the words of Yogi Berra, the more I like the sound, the cut of this guy's jib. Half the lies they tell about me aren't true. Very good. What's this? I can't hit the like button until I've seen some of the show. What if I don't like it? Yes, because I think like monitor Deagle is taking his job very seriously. Great to see Susan and Leaf yesterday. Susan was saying the same thing yesterday. Why is it that nobody hits the like button? And I said, Susan, maybe they don't like it. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at my own jokes quite like that. But it's true. And I think it's true here. Whilst Deagle is trying to say and out the duck for not hitting the like button, dobbed in. I don't know what colloquialism you use. I dobbed in. He got grassed up this morning by Deagle did the duck, but in his own defence and in his own words. Well, look, this is true. I can't hit the like button until I've seen some of the show. What if I don't like it? What if you hit the like button as soon as you arrived, and I had some sort of personality change overnight, which does happen, of course, to me and other people. And then you were embarrassed to have liked the show without seeing it. There is that to bear in mind. So, it's a bit of a risk you're taking if you like it without even sampling any of it. There were two sides. I do like it when you like the show anyway, regardless of the quality. or even seeing any of it of a morning. But there you go. Two ways of looking at things. And that's what I like about what we do here, is that we can cope with two ways of looking at things and more without having to decide or to alienate or polarize the atmosphere by trying to come to some sort of overarching decision on things. So let's let that hang there. And who doesn't like to just let things hang there first thing in the morning? Bon dia, Alegria Gumpers. Certainly, he's in with one of those, if not a like, this morning, and a one duck review. Fiscal quote of the day then. I still don't understand why I need to pay taxes if they can just print money. Hold on, let's get Kate and Paul on the phone, shall we, to argue about that. Taxes are about behavior control, not revenue. Ooh! Interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll have more fiscal quotes of the day and retorts like that. You could have a point there, T-Duck. And dare I say it, it seems that governments seem to be quite liking a bit of the old behavior control from what we've seen recently, right? And others, not just governments, other big organizations seem to quite like a little bit of behavior control. Things that make you go, just before 9 on a Monday. Not, it feels like it. No, it's a Thursday morning. Move to Portugal Thursday, and we'll have Wiley joining us soon. Deep thought of the day then. Hey, did I send her the link? Got to make sure we sent Wiley the link. And I'm doing that on my 2-screen system at the moment. I did actually send her the link. That's good to know. But I'll send it again. So it's foremost in her WhatsApp in tray. Deep thought of the day then. Most of us must learn to love people and use things rather than loving things and using people. A lesson of the times, right? Roy T. Bennett. And who is Roy T. Bennett, you may ask? Author of The Light in the Heart. Tell us more, T-Duck. That sounds like a nice book. The Light in the Heart. So yeah, most of us must learn to love people and use things rather than loving things and using people. Sign of the times, quote of the times there. Portuguese saying of the day, quem espera desespera. Those who wait despair. It's the opposite, isn't it? It's the counter quote to who dares wins that we had. And fortune favors the brave, which was being said earlier on, I believe this very week. Dad jokes to come then. I'll give you some clues on the dad jokes. They contain vodka, nothingness, or I suppose you could say wealth, and algebra. And we'll come back to those a little bit later on. Don't look at T-Duck's dad jokes and spoil it. Don't be a dad joke spoiler right now. I mean, dad jokes are quite capable of spoiling themselves. They don't need any help. What's not to like about Oh, the liking debate continues. And T-Duck, I love Portugal. That's why I hit the like Portugal button every morning when I wake up. Carl still has to prove himself. Okay. Oof, hard audience this morning, tough audience. Morning Gumpers from Owen and Jean. Bon dia do madrugada. New Jersey, the North New Jersey this morning, and Dawn. Oh, is it Dawn? I wonder why. I've got to look that because have a look that I've got that down as Dawn, but I can't see why it would be Dawn in New Jersey, or is it? No, it can't be. It's too early for that, isn't it, Gene? What is it you're actually saying there? I think I might have been getting that wrong all this time. Morning, Owen, from me and the T-Duck and everyone else, I dare say. We see you, but your lips aren't moving. That bit needs to be sorted out, doesn't it? No sound, meditation Thursday. For me, the theme tune played twice. Was that not what you were seeing? Were you not? So I was sitting here looking like Tucker Carlson with my mouth open, and I was enjoying the theme tune for a second time, but you were seeing me sat there like Tucker. Interesting. And back in the room. Oh, if nothing else, you can like the start of the show, can't you? If not the content that's meant to be coming on. Yeah, and thank you, T-Duck, for being a member 1 year, a 3-duck rating then. I don't know if that's directly related to YouTube membership. I am on day, here we go, 278 days of memorized. And you'll be putting this into practice, I suspect, when you arrive in Portugal next week, Deagle. I've started listening to Portuguese songs with lyrics on the screen to pick up words. As song tunes stick in my head. Okay, anyone else learning by song? It's a great way to do it. And of course, go to Katia Lima's resources on YouTube, where she has playlists of Portuguese songs. And it's a really good service to us and anyone who might want to be learning the language and learn more about the culture. You learn so much from music, don't you? Of course, not just the language, but the culture as well. And history too. Her playlists go back some way, contemporary stuff as well as ancient Portuguese music as well. Well, not ancient exactly, but back to I think the 30s and 40s, to the beginnings of recorded audio, basically. Bon dia from Stephen. I wonder. Maybe this makes sense now. 8:36. Yeah, Stephen's in the room. Text playing up. Yeah. Bon dia from a beautiful Bairrada from Bairrandi this morning. And I love listening to Portuguese songs lyrics. So that's working for Jean then. And I've only just got here. Has everything been working fine? Okay, fair enough. It's not you. We can rule you out of the tech inquiry, Stephen. I bought a really nice, what I thought was a really nice HP. Went for a kind of tower. Well, what's it called? A desktop, I suppose. It's not a tower because it's not in the vertical. In the portrait, it's a landscape machine. It's got a CD. It's a refurb. Maybe is that the problem? Do you think? But a good spec and stacks of USB ports, which I need. Made by HP. It's even got an old CD player on it, which you never know could come in useful, couldn't it? Talking of Portuguese music, I might go to a car boot fair or a flea market and get some Portuguese CDs and treat you a bit of music one of these days. Yeah, I don't know. I think there might be some sort of cloud-based problem with StreamYard. We shall see. Anyway, enough about that. And you are ruled out of the inquiry, Stephen. There is officially, I can say there is no connection between the show breaking down and Stephen Wells. I'm listening to, would you like me to issue a further apology, Stephen, in the Daily Times of Great Britain? I'm listening to Carlos Paredes right now. Really? Says D-Duck. There's a tip for you, Deagle. I roasted sweet red peppers and tomatoes for the gravy. He's talking about his Portugal Antejano there. Look, you can see them. You can see the roast. Oh, that gravy would have tasted so good. Not just red peppers and tomatoes, but he roasted them, took the time to roast those vegetables before making them part of the gravy there. That's fantastic. Yep. Thank you, Deagle. Beautiful beach pics. Stephen, you might not have seen these. Look at these. There's your twinkliness there of San Martino de Porto, moonlit beach. Oh, and I was going to tell you about that shape on the beach there. At first glance, I thought it was a really well-behaved Labrador that was either sitting very, very well, very well-trained dog, or what should I say, doing some of its defecatory yoga on the beach with the particular posture that it had. And then I later realized I should have gone to Specsavers because it's actually a white bin bag. bottom left of your screen. Thank you for the compliment on the photos there, Deagle. Back to those comments then. Portuguese rock and rollers. Here's a recommendation. Juntos e Pontaps. They are said to be the Portuguese Rolling Stones, of course, and all good, but the lip syncing. So you're getting that as well. Oh dear. Should I refresh? Shall I do it? Shall I refresh the page and see if that helps? See, it could cause more problems. Can you cope with the lip syncing the way it is at the moment? Deagle, thank you very much, Deagle, for your tips for visiting Belfast, which Andy's parents are doing. Mum and Dad visited the amazing Titanic exhibition and the Carrickfergus Castle. Today, a misty bus tour. They are loving your city. I had a great time when I went to Belfast. Probably, oh my goodness, maybe getting on for 20 years ago. Great time in Belfast. Fantastic city. And on Twitter, not TV. I beg your pardon. So yeah, the picture that Deagle saw a lot on Twitter yesterday was this bare-chested lady, Lady Portuguesa, the Republic Day, of course, yesterday, 112. She's looking good, I got to say, for 112. I think there are many ladies watching who might like to look as good at that as that at 112. And that was doing the rounds on Twitter yesterday, apparently. Thank you for that, Deagle. Friday the 14th. What's this? Oh, that's when you're arriving. 20 degrees in Belfast is hot in July, August. So heat that late in the year is fantastic. Well, you're already looking forward to that, aren't you? And we know that, Deagle. And music to learn Portuguese by. We'll have sons the sounds of the earth, right? Sons de terra, not sons of terror. Terra Velhinha. Terra Velhinha, the old earth. Marta Pereira da Costa, the Portuguese guitarist, and João Robalinho, O Tempo Volta para Trás. There. Thank you for all these recommendations. These are brilliant. Pick a leg, any leg. Hold on, let me mix them up first. Doing the twist in Lisbon there. Or like some sort of Michael Jackson dance routine where you mix your legs up. So will the morning show end this week? No. It's a bit like the Queen is dead, long live the King in some ways. Was that too soon? Sorry. The Expats Portugal Show, as you see it in this format, will be coming to a conclusion tomorrow. And there will be a bit of an after show party. I'll give you a Zoom link tomorrow if you want to gather after the show and reflect and look back, look forward, because the old school, new style Good Morning Portugal show will be in the breakfast position from Monday. Pete, to answer your question there, dropped my documentation off at the Portuguese consulate Newark yesterday. 30 to 60 days until I get my visa. Fantastic. Good stuff there, Jean. Fingers crossed for you. Everything crossed, of course. My son's girlfriend is from Carrickfergus. King William landed in Carrickfergus on the 1st of July, 1690. Remember it well. Before marching south for the Battle of the Boyne on the 12th of July, 1690. Carrickfergus, only 14 miles north of Belfast. The morning show, what's this? Not ending. It's rebranding, moving to. Okay, thank you very much for that, T-Duck. Don't drag your feet on the keyboard. Use your fingers like everyone else, Stephen. Yogi was a master of the obvious. And, that, I don't know, that could sound like a not a compliment, right? Being a master of the obvious. Thank you, dear. Master of the obvious. In fact, didn't Basil Fawlty say that? Stating the bleeding obvious. Yes, but he turned it to his great advantage, Yogi Berra, there as master of the obvious. Made you think, didn't he? And he's doing that to us still these mornings when we have a Yogi Berra quote of the day as well. Toot toot, what does that mean, I wonder? Is that another Portuguese music? No, it's not, is it? I suddenly realize what that means. Deagle, you can always dislike the show if you change your mind, then back again if you struggle with making up your mind. I suspect as well. Can you imagine? Why don't we try these things as an experiment? Like it, dislike it, do the angry emoji, do all the different emojis, because what I suspect happens in Silicon Valley, the algorithms, if they are being stimulated and there's a lot of polarity, I think that's the sort of stuff that works on social media, isn't it? If everyone's liking everything, what's the fun in that, say social media? So I think it's interesting that we might have a little bit of fun with that. Okay, the like count, carrying on in this in this regard, on this topic, the like count only shows increase if I close the show and reopen it to refresh it. Indeed, then you might miss something. It doesn't increase in real time. That could be another clue, couldn't it, as to poor liking performance. Anyway, it is 1 minute past 9, and we should welcome with a lovely big round of applause from Cascais, the beautiful part of Portugal. Let's give her a nice round of applause now. It's Wiley, everybody. Enjoy it, Wiley. Enjoy
it. Good morning.
Olá, bom dia. Tudo bem?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yep, just here hanging out with a few mates, like we do on Move to Portugal Thursday. Looking forward to talking to you about, among other things, Wiley, the Ironman event, which is the talk of your town at the moment, isn't it? I said you were excited about it. What's going on?
I love it. Ironman, when I moved here 4 years ago, I had owned a gym where I used to live in Sweden. And I was so burned out after owning a gym for 30 years. I'm like, I'll never lift another weight. And it took me months just to go into the local gym. And I got in, I'm like, I can't do this. And a friend of mine goes, hey, I have a triathlon team. You want to hang out with us? I'm like, it's not in a gym. So I'm like, okay. So I did my initial ride with them. And after that, they invited me to come in. And we trained to do the Ironman. And, when I've only watched these people do Ironmans, I'm thinking these people are nuts. Like, why would you put yourself through that?
I will be honest with you. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That is exactly what I'm thinking right now. And I think others are as well.
Right. Like, why would you do that? Until you do it with a group of people who are so cool and so much fun that when you gather in the morning and put your wetsuit on and get out in that water, it's not that you're swimming, it's that you're hanging out with your friends in the water. And you just happen to be swimming. And then again, everyone's kind of good at it. So it's like imagine being in the ocean and being like with a flock. No, wait a minute. It's not a flock if you're a fish.
A shoal or a school.
A school.
Yes.
Imagine being at school with all your best friends. And it's just the coolest thing. And then, you kind of transition, which is a little stressful, and you get on your bikes. And that's where I shine. Like, get me on a bike and watch me smile for, 3 hours. And that is how I felt. I felt like, in my first Ironman, I was like, I'm just smiling for 3 hours. And yes, it's hard. And yes, I'm sweating, but everybody else is smiling. And we're all doing this thing that is the endorphins are just like exponential.
Off the scale. Okay.
Yeah. And so then you do that and then you run and, you do all your cool things. And it's just like, once again, you're with your peeps.
I'm not sold yet, I've got to say. And I want to know, let's find out a bit more about it, because we just had a triathlon event in San Martino de Porto. They shut the main street off, the Marginal, and they had, I think that I didn't go down there myself, probably just in case I did get dragged into it in the way you described it.
So you're safe.
But it was a big deal. It was a big deal here. But what is the difference between a triathlon and an Ironman then? Because there is a little bit of a distinction. Is it just a branding thing, or is
branding?
It's
exactly the same. Yeah.
And is Ironman a franchise? Is that like a global franchise and you have to do it?
It is. And I will tell you, sorry, Ironman, it's the most expensive one you can do. And that's just so you can call yourself an Ironman. So most people do it once. But I mean, all of the people in this team said the one in Coimbra is much nicer to do it than it is to do it here.
Okay.
Predominantly because it's not an ocean. It's not cold.
You're in the river. You go into the Mondego, is it? Yeah. Okay. That's fascinating.
And it's half the price. Like right now, if you wanted to do the Ironman, 600 euros.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Okay, and I'm guessing because that's a global international franchise, that's why they justify the big price ticket. In Portugal, typically, it's going to be a better value, and it's not going to be prohibitive by the sound of it.
Yeah, but the people flying all over the world to do this, and it is a thing. People have Ironman. They have Ironman tattoos on their bodies, and if you're an Ironman or an Iron Woman, it's kind of it's something you carry, and it's cool. But again, after having done one, I would say, can someone set it up better? It's really about your transitions. It's really about the volunteers. So
when you say the transitions, that's moving from one method of transport
to the other. Yeah.
Okay, but that's where you get to show off your tattoos, isn't it? As you're stripping off,
because you're pretty naked. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of naked going on, but I have to tell you.
Now I'm more interested.
And let's just put this in there. It's not just any naked. I mean, we're talking athletic.
We are talking about hot bods, aren't we? We are talking hot bods here. Right. Okay. All right. And, how many miles am I going to have to swim?
1.9 kilometers.
1.9 kilometers. Okay, so is that about a mile?
And that's if you're doing the half, because there's a hole.
What? Okay. All right.
Saying.
That's a half Ironman. But
right.
that just sounds,
Just double the numbers for the whole.
Really? Okay, but I mean, if you're going to be calling yourself an Ironman, you can't be really doing half of it, can you?
Well, it's a good place to start.
No, I get it. But you know, it's like I did half an Ironman. Really?
I know. It's like drinking half a beer. It's like
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Big deal. Okay. So
exactly.
1.9 kilometers of swimming.
And that because it's the most dangerous one, right? So we always start with it, and it's absolutely the most dangerous one.
Okay.
Because drowning is silent.
Yes. Wow. Did Yogi Berra say that? That's quite a profound quote of the morning. Drowning is silent. Not for the person drowning, it's not. But okay. No. So I guess it is dangerous when all of those people quite excited, full of adrenaline, are jumping into the water together.
But they pace them, and everyone knows in the water that nobody wants to be near anybody else. And so there's a couple things. For example, everyone has the same skin, the same cap, because if you had one with blue and one with green, you really wouldn't know what you're looking for. So you're always looking for the same color happening. Okay. And then it's at a certain temperature, you have to wear a wetsuit, and we're generally at that certain temperature. So everyone's in a wet, which helps because it's more buoyant.
Yes. Yes.
But what some people do is they'll take their goggles, they'll take their own skin first, then they'll take the goggles, then they'll do a second one. Because if someone swims past you and does this, you can't see anything.
Oh no, I've got off it again. And
right?
You can't see naked people without your glasses on. Which could be a good thing. I don't know. But
no, not this particular venue.
That sounds terrifying then. So that
it's not, because you learn. And so, but someone is if they're kicking and your face is there, of course you need to learn how to bob and weave and you know, and it's all just things. Okay, Steph. All right, Steven.
Okay, no. You know, we do not need to listen to these. I mean, they're basically just. I don't know what the polite way of putting this, but they're wussing out of this great life challenge, which you are not, Wiley. So we're doing the water. We've done the water, and you're getting out.
We've done the water, and now we have to transition to the bikes, and they're usually not back. They're usually not at the same place, because now I have to have 1,000 to 3,000 bicycles locked up overnight, and some of these bicycles are worth what your car is worth. So,
oh my goodness, okay.
The day before, we go over to the Hippodromo, and we drop our bikes off in our allocated space. And this is a beautiful picture because it's a beautiful space. They have equestrian shows there. It's gorgeous, and they've got these rails, and your bike is literally all the way down. And you memorize your number, and you set your bike up, and you give it a small hug, and it's all ready for tomorrow. So everything you're going to do tomorrow is ready on your bike today, because you can't come back in. Once you leave it, you're locked out.
Yes. Okay.
And so it's open the next morning. So now you have to transition. So, and you're barefoot and you're wet and you're transitioning into what you're going to do next, which is bicycle, which is what you're not wet and you're not barefoot. So there is a red carpet that they run for the half a kilometer between the water and the Hippodromo. And above that red carpet, there are showers because you're full of salt water. So you get out and you're ripping your clothes off, right? Because you got to get your wetsuit off. And very often under your wetsuit, you'll have your tri-suit.
What is that?
Well, a tri-suit is the suit that you can wear through the whole thing. Because when you transition, you sometimes don't have the luxury of the time, because it's the transition time that slows you down.
Oh, tri as in triathlon.
Triathlon suit, right?
Okay, all right. Yeah, because otherwise, you'd be completely naked having stripped off your wetsuit. Okay, so right there. So hold on, let me just get this right. We've come out of the sea or wherever we've done the swimming part. We're heading towards the bike shed. I mean, that's not the right way of putting it, obviously. Whilst taking off our wetsuit and running across the red carpet, which is helping to dry our feet a little bit as well.
Well, also so we don't hit our feet on rocks or glass or anything.
Well,
and they clean the streets the night before. So the night before, all these streets are being washed and brushed, and that's what Cascais is coming in doing all those things, which is why, it's expensive. But we make money. Cascais makes money doing this. So Cascais pays the Ironman to come here.
Okay, as well as everyone paying Ironman to do it when it is here.
Huge money.
Well, I suppose it's like Web Summit, isn't it? It's a good thing to have in town, right?
Absolutely.
And all the
hotels have been booked.
Yeah.
All the restaurants are booked. You cannot, like, as a Cascaisian, you can't get.
Yes.
You can't sit in the restaurant from Friday next week till Sunday next week. Don't expect to be able to eat out. It just doesn't happen. And I'm renting my apartment out for 3 days.
Excellent stuff. Is someone going to run behind you now, stripping off? Or are they not there yet? No,
no,
they're not. Okay, all right. So we're still working our way through.
Okay, so now we've gotten over to the bike. Our wetsuits are off. We might have a friend that we're throwing it to. We might drop it on the ground. We might actually place it on our hook over it.
It looks like Glastonbury. It looks like Glastonbury by the time everyone's come in and got their bikes. There's clothes everywhere and discarded water bottles and goggles and God knows what.
But because, again, wetsuits are expensive, so they don't just really let them go. I mean, like, there's somebody who's a support team, or they'll bring them with them and they'll hook them up on their hook as they take their bag off. We have 3 bags with 3 different event type of clothing in them. And then we zoop as we go over to our bike. We're zooping in our new clothing. Yeah. We could be bare feet because most people have their bike shoes already locked onto their bike.
Yes, like Inspector Gadget or
exactly.
Ace Ventura.
And so some of them are biking like with bare feet. And so they basically, they hook up their stuff. They get their new stuff on. Their bike's already set up with their water bottles and their energy bars. And they literally just run. They grab their bike and run it to the entrance and then click, click, zoop, and they go.
Wow. And how far are we cycling now?
90K.
Oh, Wiley. Definitely not doing this. And in fact, I'm not in good enough shape. 90 kilometers. So they're going to Lisbon. Are they and back?
They are.
Are they going along the river there?
Yes.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
Yeah, of course it is. That sounds amazing. So there's where does this route take everybody?
Well, so when I did it, we started the Hippodromo, we went through Cascais, and we went straight to the bridge, the 25th of April.
Did you really?
They closed the Marginal. It's gorgeous.
I mean,
because you can't be a car. I mean, it's just us.
Oh.
And so that is the most beautiful thing. And then at 25th of April, we flip around and we come back up and there's a number of things. But then you go up through Estoril and you go to the Autodromo and you're biking on the Autodromo.
Oh, wow. That sounds
cool.
really special. Okay. So I understand why now. It's just such an important thing for the location.
And then you get up to Penilonga and you go past and you go up to Sintra Mountains and you go up to Malvera de Serra and you go all the way down to Guincho and you come back. That's the 90. But last 2 years, last year they didn't. Yeah, they did. They flipped the course. So you go to Hippodromo and the first thing you do is go to Guincho, which is nice because it's flat for 10K. And then you hit the hill to Malvera de Serra. And then you go up to Clarish and you go down into Clarish and you go around the hills and you come back around and go up. And then you go to Lisbon that way from like back there. And you still go to the Autodromo. You just come in backwards. It's super cool. And then you end on the flats. Because at the last time we ended on the hills. And if you're super tired and your last half is all hills and your first half is flats, it was really important that they flip it. Like when you're
if you're super tired, who is not super tired after doing that?
Oh, but you're endorphins. Like you don't even know you're doing it.
All right. So then we are in a situation. We've got our bike.
We've parked our bikes.
Yes.
And I mean, they are unclicked out of their bikes. They have already pulled their feet out of their shoes. And by the time they roll down the hill, they literally, you should see them. They jump off their bikes and they run their bikes in and they click their bikes and they're going onto their bag and they get their bike shoes. So they're now barefoot again. And they just throw their running shoes on and go. Again, like they're in their tri-suits, which are very often half-naked tri-suits.
I know where I need to watch this. There's that McDonald's, isn't there, along the waterfront there, just outside Cascais. That is the perfect location to be watching this from, I think.
Well, for me, the perfect location is the transition location because then you get to see them doing all 3. So close enough to Hippodromo. So we're in front of La Scala. That's like where we hang.
How far are we running now? How far are they going with this run?
Half marathon.
Which is 27 and a half. 27.5. Is it 27.4? Halved. So 13 miles. 13 or 14 miles thereafter.
And that's a little bit boring, I have to say, because they just they do is they go from here over to Estoril, and then they flip around and they do it like 4 times. Like they do a 5K 4 times ish. So That's the least interesting, but they have to kind of keep them on the flats, and they have to keep them, because your first 5K, the answer is, and I haven't done the run, the Ironman I did was a relay. And so my runner ran it. But if I had gotten off the bike, if you've just done this for 90 or 100K or 180K, your legs aren't really yours. And so everyone I talked to said, like, the first 15 minutes, or the first, like, maybe even 5K, but definitely the first 15 minutes, you don't even know you have legs. Like, you're just moving because you know you're supposed to. And then your legs kind of get into, oh, this is what we're doing now.
God. How, did you say you had someone running for you?
Yeah. So the first Ironman I did a relay. So my best friend from Sweden flew in, and she did the swim. And then one of my closest friends here did the run. And so I did the bike.
Oh, so you can do it as a team. All right. Well, maybe we could do that as on the Expats Portugal show here. Maybe I could have 3 people doing it for me.
Not for you, with you, then it would be 2.
Yeah, but if 3 did it, then I could just coach or look on and get the medal.
Right, and your coaching skills would...
I've been delivering coaching advice on this show for nearly a year now. I think we've got this. Wiley, that just sounds extraordinary. You've taken part in this. You're going to be watching it this year. It's an amazing thing for Cascais. People, they're going to be arriving in the quay there, are they, at the front there, in front of the hotel? Is that where it all ends?
In front of Bahia, yeah.
Yeah. That sounds incredible. So an amazing, just an amazing event for the city. I mean, you have quite a few amazing events in Cascais, as we know. This is possibly one of the the supreme events of the year.
Well, it's probably one of the largest events. I mean, it's one where the most amount of people. You can only imagine the airport and people bringing in these bicycles. I mean, these bike boxes are like this. Yes. So, I mean, the amount of airplanes that are bringing in bikes. The team that's going to be staying here, they're actually going to rent their bikes. And then they just take them to someone who fits them to that bike. But it's
a whole industry. Okay, so we've got some volunteers then. If you need help, call me. That's great. Thank you, Lord Gilchrist. He could run with his crown on and his orb and scepter. That would be a good look, I think. Incredible. And are there people who are professionals in this and they get sponsored? So it's big business. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of money to be made here.
Of course, there must be. And there's a prize. Is there? The winner, the top rated people get a prize today for winning this.
Well, okay. So top rated may or may not be the person who wins. You never know who shows up. But the professionals are the first ones in the water. Like if you have if you're a card carrying professional kind of thing, if you get paid to do this, you're the first one in the water, because you don't need to be caught behind people where you're just going to be swimming over them. So the guys to watch are like the first 30, 40 in the water. Because the story is, the guy who comes over the finish line, the very first guy, he's guaranteed the purse. But here's how it's fascinating. It depends. It's how many, oh God, they told me last year. It's how many people show up over the finish line in the next, I believe it's like 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If there's like 12 to 15 people, that's how many people he has to share it with. If there's like 2 people, that's how many people he has to share it with.
Oh, so the better you are and the more you can distance yourself from the crowd, the more money you'll make. It's as though they keep adding things to this to make it even more savage and brutal and competitive, right? What else could you do, I wonder? Well, one suggestion is have a naturist triathlon, maybe in central Portugal. That could be a first for Portugal. That really could be. I mean, that's going to be sore, though, riding a bicycle, I would have thought, in that condition. What is the cost to kick yourself out? So you said there, some of the bikes cost as much as a car does.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the people are spending a lot of money, aren't they, to do this and then kit themselves out for it. What are we talking about?
I have my coach. He's like, I bought wheels for 10,000. I'm like,
what?
For 10,000? Like on a car, you're like, oh, there's 4 of them. This is and the bikes are carbon, and the helmets themselves. I mean, you can spend thousands on every piece. It's just amazing. And the watches and the gear. And I mean, they have armed guards walking around these bicycles.
Yes. I mean, there must be millions in kit on that.
Easily. And nobody has one bike. I mean, it's not like a tennis where the guy shows up with 12 tennis rackets on his back and more rackets he has. Everyone just brings one bike. But at home, none of the people I bike with have one bike. We're like, which one should we bike on today? It's like anything else. It's when you love it, you just acquire more of it.
Indeed. And when's this all happening then, Wiley?
Next weekend. Friday
Yes.
is the check-in. So I think probably there's a late Thursday night, Friday check-in. And and then Saturday morning, if you're here, one of the things that'd be so cool if you guys were here, anybody's in Cascais, they get up and they have this famous Portuguese person singing the national anthem as the sun is rising, because the sun comes up at 7:30 and you can't go in the water when it's dark. So it's probably a 7:15, maybe 7:30 start. But to watch the sunrise and have the energy of these thousands and thousands of athletes, it's pulsing. It's amazing. And she's singing the national anthem on the beach with the water as the sun's coming up behind her. And if you're not crying, you don't have blood in your veins. I mean, it is spectacular.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that on YouTube. I'm sure it will make it to YouTube. If somebody is going to that, maybe they could capture that for us, because that is what a beautiful moment. How long has it been going on? It sounds like this is the evolution of a very special event for the city.
Cascais has, because the first year I got here in 2018, I actually volunteered for it. And then the next year I ran it. I think it hadn't been here so many years before that. I think it's relatively new. And if I say 10, I think it's too many. I have to take a look at that.
But long enough for them to have really, thought, okay, next year we'll add this and we'll do this better. And that
because
sounds
if I'm not mistaken, this year, because last year what they did was they did the half on Saturday and the whole on Sunday. And I think that it got to the point where it was so horrible for the people who lived here because they shut the roads down for 48 hours.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think what they did was they just let's just do it all at once, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's a longer day, but instead of 2 days, it might as well just be one really long day. And it's easier for the people who live here because then on Sundays we can drive on the roads again.
Very good. Okay. Well, I think I've made my decision. I'm not going to do it this year. Okay. Please don't think me rude. But I
think it's sold out.
Okay. Fair enough. The decision's been made for me and taken out of my hands. Okay, well, that's fascinating. Thank you very much. We might even talk about property today, mightn't we? But, another great reason to consider Cascais, there's something about the way Cascais does things, and you've heard it right there, okay?
Right, and I think that's another thing is that I think they feel like they waited long enough because this year almost all of it's coming back. And again, when I first moved here, I was like, I can't believe there's all these activities all the time. What a cool thing. Because Cascais takes care of their own, right? So, I mean, they make sure that the hotels are fully booked. They make sure their restaurants are fully booked. Because after COVID and all these restaurants were shutting down, it breaks your heart. Indeed. And now when they bring all these people in, so we have Classic Car Week, and it is gorgeous. I mean, to look at these antique cars come in and they set themselves up at the casino. So you imagine the gardens of the casino and all these classic cars are on the sides and people, it's just... They had the World Paddle Tour, a month ago, which was amazing. And they built the paddle courts on the casino grounds.
Yes, because we spoke about this last time you were here, didn't we? Did that go well?
Sorry?
Did it go well? Was it? It
was beautiful. It was beautiful. I watched the finales, and I have to tell you, the women were more beautiful to watch than the men. And I don't know why. I think it's just the power. There was more grace and more maybe, I don't know what to say, more rallies. There was a little bit more power in the men's, and that's beautiful. But as a female paddle player, I'm like, okay, I'm probably never going to be able to do that. So maybe I just liken to the women being beautiful because it's easier for me. But amazing. That was beautiful. And then Harley Davidson week, which is altogether crazy. Like if you don't come to Cascais, come for Harley Davidson week.
Yes. It's a week of that.
No, it's not. It's probably like 3-4 days. But I mean, they all have to come here with their Harleys. Once again, the transportation alone.
Can you? Yes, of course. And these are people flying in as well as
biking.
Oh my!
And transporting your Harley. Not only like last time I figured out it wasn't that Harley's probably not the biggest thing. I think the bigger suitcases are the wardrobes. I mean, you can't just roll leather up in your suitcase and put it next to your biking shorts, right?
That is true. Yes.
This is a lot. And I mean, and they're all in. And they have flags the size of the country's flags, like the big ones, not the ones you put on boats that are this big. Like we're talking flags behind their bicycles, just like, this one's from Poland. And it's just amazing.
Because there is a procession through the street?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, right. Yeah, you wouldn't want to go all that way and then not process.
Not process.
The street, would you?
And then And then they park their bikes, or they line the city streets of downtown Cascais. And they have, we've been in marinas where the yachts come in, and at night they'll illuminate the underside of their boat. And so sometimes there'll be an aqua blue, luminescent around the boat. That's what they do underneath the Harleys. So there's yellow underneath this one, or blue underneath this one. And then the babe is like
on the back
on her Harley. Like, don't put your feet on the handlebars. That's not what that's for. No, it's crazy. It's cool.
Right. Okay. I'm just thinking, my mind went to meeting somebody in that situation. If that's how your relationship started, that you got together and your first thing, or you got married in Cascais on your Harley, and then toured.
I'm sure it happens.
How fantastic is that? So many great things we're discovering about Cascais this morning. We've not said. Well, you said a little bit about Estoril because the paddle tour was out front there, wasn't it, at the casino? What's going on? Well, actually, let's have a look at a few comments, because I'm sure people will be responding to what you're saying there and are deciding to be in the Ironman or not. Maybe next year's paddle tour, and certainly popping down to see the national anthem being sung at dawn, or all those lovely Harley Davidsons. Just a few of the wonderful things that happen here in Portugal, in Cascais there. We've got a definition then of madrugada. Thank you for this, Jean. Can also mean early morning between midnight and 6 or dawn in the morning. So pre-dawn and the early hours of the morning is madrugada. Thank you for sorting that out. I bought a refurb computer yesterday, Wiley, to make the show work a little bit better. Hasn't quite worked out as I planned, but it's got a CD on it. Nice blast from the past. And Pete loves the fact that they sell both CDs and cassette tapes in the services here in Portugal. That's nice. It is awesome. As many of the museum pieces still gracing the roads, our favorite is still the donkey and cart that a lovely old couple still use in the village down the road. And watch out for the I guess you could have a vintage Ironman that has a donkey and cart section to it. It could be old school Ironman or Iron Couple of Portugal with their donkey and cart section of that. I think dawn specifically can be aurora. That's a nice word, isn't it? Alva or amanecer. Perhaps Joao or Antonio can clarify. If they're here, I'm sure they will. Raquel is in this morning. Carl, big bon dia. Who doesn't like a big bon dia in the morning? Alegria, Portugal, all the way from the USA. And I see that we've got the OLP Oregonians loving Portugal with us as well this morning. And fresh in from Colorado, we've got John. Good morning, Gumpers, or Gumuppets. Here for a few weeks, getting things ready for next year. Up there in the north, in Ponte Lima, making Ponte Lima a great place to consider, as well as Cascais and Estoril. 13 likes, 27 viewers. Well, we'll revolve around that and see if we can improve on that this morning. Hit that like button, unlike the show, like the show, get angry, do whatever emojis you want to do. Let's see what happens to the algorithm in real time. Bon dia, everyone, says Masquerade LLC manager. We arrived in Lisbon 2 days ago for our 30-day scouting trip. Nice! 30 days scouting in Portugal. Glad to be here after 2 other failed attempts earlier in pandemic. Well, third time lucky. Excellent stuff. Are you going to Estoril and Cascais, Masquerade LLC? Can we call you something else? Because that does sound a little bit formal, doesn't it? Calling you by your company name. Yogi was a master at changing up sayings and meanings. Yogi Berra, one nearly always needs to pause a moment to see. This is what I've noticed, and to see it and understand the humor of it. The baseball legend Yogi Berra, and wise person, all-round sage, I would say. What's this? You thought they were nuts? Now you know they are. These are our Iron Man participants you're talking about. He wouldn't say that to their face, would he? When he sees their rippling muscles coming out of their swimsuit. Lose weight, do the Ironman. I guess it is quite good. I mean, you lose all sense of reality some way through it as well, don't you? How the extremes to which you're pushing your body. But I imagine that's not why people are doing it. You can
also do it slowly.
Okay, so you don't have to be up there at the front trying to get the
No, you don't. I mean, there was only one position when I was volunteering where they basically said to us, anybody coming in after that, we have to disqualify them, because they've done the calculation. They figured if you're this late in your bike, you're actually not going to have time to go down and do the run, and they would actually just stop you because there's a cutoff. But as long as you can come in under the cutoff, and I don't know what that number is, but I mean, I've seen people who just kind of, they're not killing. We didn't kill ourselves. We did well. We just didn't kill ourselves.
Who does that job though? Who's the sort of person in life who goes up to somebody and says, sorry, You can't continue. You're
I
too slow.
know.
What an
Ooh,
awful job. Up there, a clipboard and
I
high vis.
watched them do it, and that you could see the person's like, I know. Like, you know.
Oh, you got to have some counselling after that. Let's get
But it
chains
could
on.
be, but it could also be that they broke their chain, or they had a flat tire or three. You know, what I mean, it's like shit like that can happen. It's not good.
What that would be so disappointing to have gone to
Yeah.
all that effort and training. Hi, all you beautiful gumpers. Can't stay, but just wanted to say hello. Hello, OLP. Thank you very much. And wouldn't it be easier? Oh, we've done that one as well. Just me this time, says John. Arrived last evening to Porto Airport, which is efficient, clean, and lovely. Airport review there. And the airline lost my bag. Okay. Yeah, Pete's hoping that they find it soon. We always do carry on, but this time I thought I'd give it a try since BA had me in boarding group 9. Not sure what that means. What's your favorite airport in Portugal, Wiley? I guess you use Lisbon mainly.
I've only been to one.
Oh, okay. Just Lisbon for you then, I'm guessing.
It's true.
It's true. Okay. And Pete has to go out on a humanitarian plumbing mission. All power to you and a bem haja that goes with that, Pete. Hope that's not too difficult or challenging. Your humanitarian plumbing, not publishing mission, your plumbing mission. Sounds like a normal weekend adventure to me. Yeah, right, Lee McGrady, who fancies himself as a bit of an Ironman, although he does cycle around Lisbon. But have you ever done it, Lee? Lee's idea, I think, of a good Ironman would be a fourth part of it where drinking is involved as well. That's the Northern English version of the Ironman, I think. The cost is due to the specialist manufacturing and many hours of skilled labor. This is for the people making all these wonderful bikes and other accoutrements of the Ironman, low volume of product. But what a lovely industry to be in. It's a bit like making bespoke guitars, isn't it? If you're making bespoke bicycles and tuning them to the needs of that individual, what a lovely industry to be in. Yeah, absolutely. I have to find all the peripherals. I guess peripherals and paraphernalia of the... Have you actually done it then, Andrew? Are you a triathlete? Now, amongst the plethora of chores I've planned, I also need to get me some pants. Good.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Yes, he's lost his. Someone else might be wearing those pants somewhere else in the world. No need for pants. Colin Wiley, a commander for every show. And stop it. What? How disgusting. Estoril is most famous for its motor racing circuit. And you've cycled on it, as you were saying there, Wiley. Fantastic.
So cool.
Used to be on the F1 calendar. And I think now it's down south, isn't it? The F1 circuit here.
True.
And Ayrton Senna, apparently, look at you're in good company cycling around there. Ayrton Senna won his first Formula One race in Estoril. Lord Gilchrist tells us, taught us not everyone's a hare. Yes, well said. And boarding group 9 means dead. Oh, okay. Very little chance to find overhead space for your bag. I see. Got you there. Okay, so how is the property world looking at the moment? Crazy times in the world, Wiley. Any changes, things that we need to be aware of, generally speaking, in the property scene, and specifically in your area?
You know, it's still a supply and demand issue. It's still a seller's market.
Right.
I do have a client who is she's so dialed in to buying that she knows the market better than I do at this point. I mean, she just reads it every day, and she reads it like she would the Financial Times. So she's starting to send me links where she's like, look at this. I have this designated where 3 months ago it was this price, and now they're dropping it. And this week, she sent me about 4 or 5 of them. And she said, I'm really starting to see a trend where it's dropping. So they're about to put in an offer. And her idea is, you know what? I'm going to put it down here, my offer, and let them bring me back up. But I'm going to start down here because I think all of us feel this interest rates and what's going on around the world and how the American market is just kind of stopped. It's not bubbling as much anymore, maybe in some specific places, but in general, the European market mostly is just, it's starting to calm down a little bit. And although I think there are certain neighborhoods that will never really see a huge decline, much like Cascais, and it's like your Miamis of the world and your LAs of the world and New York Cities of the world. They almost always kind of maintain a higher square meter value. But there are some things that are changing. But again, you know, if I want to see something, if a new listing comes out, if I'm not one of the first 20 to see it, I'm probably not going to get it. Like that still happens. Absolutely.
Wow, okay. And this scenario we could talk about, because this is the pattern for quite a few of the people who do watch the show, is selling a property in the United States, then wanting to buy over here. And there are 3 things going on in that, aren't there? There's the slowdown, it would appear, in the United States. I mean, some people who sold 2 years ago or a year ago really made some great gains on their property, didn't they?
100%.
Phenomenal. Yeah. And if they got the timing right, they then came here before it got too cooked. And if they got that, if they're still stretching into that sweet spot and they're completing now, their dollar is buying them quite a few euros as well. So for some people, it's been amazing, hasn't it?
True.
Yeah. But you don't think that's going to continue in quite?
I don't know. Again, if I had a golden, a crystal ball, if we all did, it would be so much more easy. I mean, the questions come in all day. I'm like, that would be super easy if I had one, but I don't. None of us know. My lawyer doesn't know. My banker doesn't know. I mean, none of us know. We all just have these gut feelings depending on who our clients are and the experiences we've had with them, and the edge of the market that we're in particular.
Yes.
But there's some, I mean, I've very happy people. When they come into their homes, they're the happiest people. And the transition, the closings, to go to a deed where they're like tears, people are so happy. So, I mean, my job continues to be the best job in the world with the best clients in the world. And it's just so great.
And an amazing town, as we've discovered as well. We've got a message in from another Carl. Looks like Cascais is on a par with California price-wise. Is that a fair comparison?
Absolutely a fair comparison.
Yes. I believe Aveiro is a good option for us. So are you having to counsel a few people out of Cascais as well? Is that a thing going on?
It is not a suggestion of mine. I mean, I very often say, and I use your name quite a bit, that, I mean, if you speak to Carl and see that there are massive expat communities through the Silver Coast, because I think that's one of the push. I mean, there's a couple push. Obviously, the schools. I mean, if you come into with school-age kids, the universities that are establishing themselves, the universities that are already established, they're most often in American-type universities, international universities. And when I say universities, they even call a kid's school King's College. The verbiage is maybe not what I would have suggested, but we grew up with elementary school, junior high school, and high school, and here they'll call them colleges. But either way, the international, the American school in Lisbon, the American school in Switzerland, King's College, all these different, St. James, all these different colleges for the kids are coming in, and they're amazing. So who wouldn't want to have their kids in them? They're expensive, but if you compare them to the American private schools, or if the money you're saving, even in property taxes compared to America and here, you can put your kids in these great schools. And I have yet to speak to a parent who's not enamored with the school systems. And also, if you're the same type of kid, if you're coming from parents who've moved from their home country, everyone's interested in second and third languages, and your kids are all doing that, then you have all these bilingual, trilingual kids running around playing with other bilingual, trilingual kids. And it's a wonderful way to raise your child, as opposed to maybe raising them in Missouri, where you might only have one language, and same. And your kids are going to school with your cousin's brother. And you're just like, it's a little bit, maybe I can give my children a bigger experience. And I think it
is phenomenal, isn't it, Cascais, this whole experience? And it's been like that for decades now, in a way, isn't it? This stage was set because of the perfect storm of circumstances there, the proximity to the capital, the UN base there, right? This is a highly popular place and militarily strategic.
For NATO?
There was a NATO. Sorry, not
NATO families here.
NATO. That's been an important part, hasn't it? And all of the cultural references and institutions that have arisen out of that, with wealthy expats coming to Cascais and wanting to live parts of their old life in the town, and you see that, don't you? You see the not the residue, the results of that now, and then all the things that we've talked about this morning to make it an incredible place of its own. How the question I want to ask you then is, how Portuguese has it remained with that going on as a truly international place with all these international flavors that the expats have brought? Do you think it remains Portuguese, or has it become a place of its own?
Does it remain Portuguese?
Like the other places you mentioned, you say you go to Miami, it's like it's America, but it's also Miami.
No, Miami's clearly not America. Miami's clearly not America.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I have a mechanic here who's told me he's going to move to Miami. I said, but you can't speak a word of English. She's like, but I don't have to. There's communities in Miami where I can only speak Brazilian Portuguese, and everyone knows exactly what I'm like. I can get jobs, I can go to restaurants, I can go to stores, and I never have to speak English. And I think, is that really what it's come to? And yet people move here, myself included, who I've tried numerous times in numerous classes to really be able to speak a broader range of Portuguese, and I'm still at very, elementary Portuguese. Do people come here and not fully engage? No, I think people come here and really want to be part of the community. Do they incorporate and have Portuguese friends and try to live the lifestyle here? Absolutely. Are there more and more people here where it feels less like Portugal and more like a melting pot from America or other countries? It's hard because in tourist season, sometimes you're overwhelmed with that amount of people, but non-tourist season, I don't know. The problem is I run in an expat crowd. I run in an we play paddle together, and it's also Portuguese women who play with us, which we love. And so that's great.
Well, it's an ongoing balance. It's an ongoing balance, isn't it? I think, and we shall see. We will see. But I suppose the point I'm making is it is a very particular and unique place, Cascais, and how, with its history, what has happened and what continues to happen there. It's in a category of its own. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Lord Gilchrist, I think it's in danger of becoming very non-Portuguese purely due to the cost of property there, similar to West Algarve. Well, this can happen. It can happen, but I think it sounds like a lot's being done, and there's a certain amount of respect and mindfulness about the people who are coming in, and I hope long may that continue. I don't know if you want to comment on that as well, Wiley.
I do, because, and I will say 99.9% of the people I speak to, when I say, I'll take your wish list, tell me exactly what you want, one of the top 3 things is don't put me in an expat neighborhood.
It's funny.
I didn't come here to be with those people. I could have done that back home.
Yes,
so
indeed.
And so I find that people are looking for that sweet, that sweet spot where that balance of I'm comfortable with my own and everyone else as well. But I mean, I think that I have one American couple here and one English couple and one German couple. That's it, like in my neighborhood. That's it. And I'm really, I sometimes I can feel alone, but I also recognize that all I have to do is walk 2 blocks and then I'm completely inundated. And so then I quickly come back and think, this is good. So yeah, nobody really wants to. And when I ask them for architecture, they're like, when in Rome, like, let's not buy the American house. Let's buy the Portuguese house.
Well done.
And make it our own. So,
well, there you go, folks. It's been great talking to you today, Wiley. If you like the cut of Wiley's jib as you've heard it there, and she has a requirement specifications from people. Do not put me in an expatty place. When in Rome, give me a Portuguese looking house.
Absolutely.
And all the wonderful things you've heard about Cascais and Estoril this morning. Get in touch via the business directory, Wiley and Associates. And perhaps we should give your email address here as well. Wiley, could you tell me what that is?
Wiley@wileyandpartners.com.
Wiley@wileyandpartners.com. There you have it. Have a wonderful time with the triathlon weekend. Sounds amazing. Thank you for being here this morning, and we'll see you soon, probably in some other capacity, webinar or special recordings, talking more about Cascais and that wonderful part of Portugal that you live in. All the very best to you.
Thank you, Carl. This has been so amazing. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. Bye for now. There she goes, everybody. That's Wiley over there in Cascais. And I don't know how many of you have been inspired to become triathletes or Iron men or women this morning. Lots of lovely comments and photos that have come in since we've been on air this morning. Thank you very much, John. Good to have you in the country. You've also sent a picture from your rental kitchen window this morning. I don't quite know where you are in Portugal. I know you're up north, aren't you? You flew into Porto. You're overlooking somebody's swimming pool there. Get to know those neighbours, John. And there's a view of the hills. It does look pretty northern, I've got to say. But welcome, bem-vindo to the country, John. Great to have you back. Portuguese or terra firma portuguesa. And this, if the Ironman triathlon thing is a bit too challenging for you, how about a caminhada rota de poeta in Anadia? Thank you very much. Andy, I'm gonna download a few more of these. I've got to say, and thank you for sending these to me. You put all of these, of course. I used to look down to deal with WhatsApp. I now look over to the right hand side in case you're wondering what's going on. But we have a Na Senhora dos Aflitos event to tell you about. So let me save that one and a few others. So let me just add those to the screen now. I think I might have maxed out it's got to be said on events. But let's have a look at a few of, not on events, on the images. No, we're okay. I can share a few more with you. So on the 16th of October there, starting at 9, is that Caminhada Rota da Poeta. It's 12, that's 12 kms, isn't it there? And it's easy or intermediate, and it's free to take part in a bit of a hike and a trek by the look of it there near Anadia. We're also looking this morning at another bit of physical fitness and endurance, Caminha pelas Almas. What's that? Walking for the soul, would that be? And that's Aguada de Cima near Agada. Agada, a great place to go, and you will pay 10 pesos. Why are they called pesos? Including a free lunch and a t-shirt. That's why Andy will be there for that one on the 9th. That's this coming, is that Sunday? I think that'll be this Sunday, won't it? Free lunch and a t-shirt. Well, lunch included and a t-shirt at 10 pesos. What is that? What does that mean? Can somebody help me out with that? As mentioned, Festas em honra da Nossa Senhora dos Aflitos in Fontinha, Febres, Coimbra. Bit further south from Andy then, and that will be on Monday. Or concludes, climaxes on Monday, starting tomorrow. So a long weekend then of celebrations, a festa there for you in the Bairrada region, north of Coimbra by the sound of it. DJ Callow playing on 4 nights there. If you're a DJ Callow fan, you'll be pleased about that, I see. And Meliada, the free Basako walk here. That is something that Andy shared with us previously. He walked in the Basako forest. There is the wonderful Basako Palace Hotel there, of course, as well. Caminhos de Região de Coimbra, Coimbrian walks north of Coimbra, as I say there, and in the forest. That sounds fantastic as well. That's the 8th of October between 9 and midday, and a 6-kilometer walk. Sounds fantastic. And then finally, thank you, Andy. Anadia is the Festa de Vendimas. This, of course, is the Harvest Festival, the Wine Harvest Festival. And that's €5 that's going to cost you, with a pork sandwich as well, and a drink, and a reusable cup, a copo reutilizável. Okay, sometimes you just got to run at it and say it very quickly. I don't know how that might have sounded to a Portuguese person. Let's look at a few of your comments then. We have Francis in with us. Fantastic to see you here, Francis. I was inspired at the beginning, also says Big Boy Crypto Pants at the beginning, but not at the end. I think the cost of those bikes and a 90k cycle, it sounds properly arduous, doesn't it? And in my lovely new hometown of Ponte Lima. So there you are. So that shot is the new hometown, Ponte Lima there, looking out across the hills there. Thank you, John, for that. And other comments coming in. Who's this? Bairandi. He changed it to Bairandi. They aren't allowed to advertise the price in euros, so they use other means. Why is that? Is that because it enters into some sort of trading law? So they say pesos instead. I'm glad I noticed that, and I'm glad I asked. So you say 10 pesos instead of 10 euros because you're not allowed to advertise the cost in euros. So no property. You've all moaned so much in the past and taken the proverbial when we've shown property. Okay, we'll do that again in the future. I do like to show a bit of property on the show, you know that. But no, nothing this morning. All about the Ironman and the triathlon this morning. Made it. Bon dia alegria from Francis this morning. Bon dia alegria todos. Great to see you here. And even better idea. What's that? Or even a Tesla. Oh, instead of buying a bike, buy a Tesla instead. I'm sure there is a Tesla triathlon of some sort. I'm sure we could come up with a kind of Tesla-based electric vehicle, a triathlon where the car is constantly in contact with your Apple Watch, telling you things, as I noticed some of my Tesla driving friends seem to be. Dad joke warning, maybe I will try athlon. Nice effort. Thank you very much for that. And goal! Getting a bit man-cavey as we move towards Friday. And I'm sure Andrew will remind us about that as well. Join us tomorrow for the last Expats Portugal show in this style then, of course, and a bit of an after-show party. We will share a few dad jokes with you now. Go back to those from the T-Duck. You have been warned. Dad jokes then. A ghost walked into a bar and ordered a shot of vodka. The bartender said, sorry, we don't serve spirits here. That's an oldie but goodie. I started out in life with nothing, and I still have most of it. I used that line or a variation of it in the little memoir I've been writing. Do like that. And relationships are a lot like algebra. Have you ever looked at your ex and wondered why? Who hasn't done that? Okay, great to hear from you, Raquel. A big bon dia, alegria from to Portugal, all the way from the USA. How are you doing this morning, Raquel? And then your last few comments. Oh, yes. How did you do this, Andrew? Have you been on a regime? Great news from Lord Gilchrist, then now under 100 kilograms. That's been your target, has it, Andy? I don't know what that really means. You can't take that out of context, can you? I guess you've got to a body mass index as well that you're happy with there. I wonder. Let us know how you did that. Have you been following the Coach Turner's God Squad tips of the day? Has anyone been? Well, we know people are doing that, but it's been a bit light on photographs and documentary evidence. Please, if you've been doing some of the God Squad tips of the day, send us pics or vids on 913-590-303. I've changed my name in readiness for your new location. Bye, Randy. Thank you very much for that. Charge, what's this? Charge for 1 hour, eat a resource, drive for an hour, recharge. There you go. Thank you. I knew somebody would rise to that challenge. There you have it. The Tesla Triathlon. Charge for an hour, eat a Portuguese snack. That's going to put you back over 100 kilograms, isn't it, if you keep doing that? And then drive for another hour and recharge. There you go. That is how we roll in the upcoming Tesla Triathlon in Cascais soon. Carl, a street in my community in Belfast called Estoril Park. No idea if connected to Lisbon, but other streets called Kingston, Havana, Jamaica. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, to see how people name things. It's a bit more exciting than Acacia Avenue, isn't it? Often what happens, and where I live, we have great Portuguese kings and queens and other notable figures from history, you know, as you will see from Rua Vasco da Gama, of course, and I live on Rua Dom João. That happens here. The secret for Andrew then is eating less and better quality. That's got to be good, and being less sedentary. I guess now you're not so much in the daily academic lifestyle. That perhaps has been a little bit easier for you, but well done. Good effort there, Andrew. Well done on getting under 100K. Let's celebrate these sorts of things. I'm wondering if I may have missed a little tranche of comments a little bit earlier on. We did have Lee boasting about what he gets up to at the weekend. I think we may have covered it this morning, and we can show you a little bit of a video, I think, to finish this morning. Have we still got that lovely car tour? Yes, distinguished days out in Portugal. Wiley mentioned the beautiful cars that end up in Cascais for one reason or another. Classic cars, classic car festivals. Oh, and we've got snakes as well. So I'm going to show you some snakes and some cars as we go out today. And I'll see you tomorrow for a Feel Good Friday with Jenny B. And let's have some fun tomorrow. Okay, so on with the cars then, first of all. Well, Big Boy Crypto Pants asking if anyone's ever owned a VW variant. I did have a VW with a Wankel engine, the K70. Honestly, true story. And I forgot to tell you earlier on about the webinar tonight. Do join us for a fantastic social webinar tonight. It's the first Thursday of the month, of course, which is always great fun on the Expats Portugal webinar. Tonight, our special guest, look at this, just landed couples. We've got Tammy and Fred, Bob and Karen, and Eric and Michelle. Fantastic. So we'll be talking to them and your chance to quiz them on their newfound experiences and their first impressions here in Portugal. So a lot of fun tonight from 7:30. Do join us. And if you want to sign up for that, go to expatsportugal.com and get your invitation there. All welcome, all absolutely welcome. Get the link over there on expatsportugal.com. And let me just show you Beverly's ASPs then. Yes, ASPs. Oh, quickly.
Bom dia, Portugal!
Bom dia, Portugal. Have a great day. Let's finish with a nice little bit of ASP action. Deja, abrazos, beijinhos. Até amanhã. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.